I found out through YouTube that I didn't exist. Not literally, of course, but in the ways that mattered, in the life of the boy I'd raised for 18 years. I'd become invisible. My name is Robert Morrison. I'm 64 years old, and 3 months ago, I watched my grandson give his college graduation speech. He thanked everyone who made him the man he is today. His professors, his classmates, his girlfriend's father, a successful attorney who'd given him an internship. He called that man the father figure I needed. I wasn't mentioned, not once. The next morning, I transferred his $125,000 graduate school fund to a kid I'd never met. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I taught high school English in Halifax for 37 years. My wife Kate taught elementary. We never had kids of our own, but we had each other, our students, and our little house in the North End with the garden Kate loved. When I was 46, my younger brother Michael died in a car accident on the highway near Truro. Black ice. His wife Lisa had passed from cancer 2 years earlier. They left behind 4-year-old Ethan. There was no one else. We brought him home. Those first months were brutal. Nightmares every night. Ethan kept asking when his daddy was coming back. I'd sit with him until sunrise, reading stories, promising him it would be okay. Kate made hot chocolate at 2 a.m. We took turns. We were exhausted, both in our late 40s, but slowly, he started to heal. By the time he was 6, he called us Grandpa Bob and Grandma Kate. We never asked him to. We kept photos of Michael and Lisa up, told him stories about them, made sure he knew where he came from. We gave him everything. Not money, we were teachers, but time, attention, love. Every hockey game at 6 a.m., in freezing rinks, every school play, every night at the kitchen table with homework. When Ethan was 10, Kate and I hit our roughest patch. We'd become co-parents instead of husband and wife. One night, after another argument about whose turn it was to drive Ethan to practice, she said something that stopped me cold. I feel like I'm living with a roommate who loves my grandson more than he loves me. Not divorce. She didn't say that word, but it hung in the air between us. I spent the next 6 months proving her wrong. Date nights every Friday. Actually listening when she talked instead of thinking about Ethan's report card. Remembering what it felt like to be married to Catherine Morrison, not just Ethan's co-parent. It worked. Slowly, we found our way back to each other. Then, 2 years later, the diagnosis came. Breast cancer, stage 4. Kate fought hard for 2 years, but in the end, cancer won. She died on a Tuesday morning in October. Ethan was 14, standing beside me at her bedside, crying. At the funeral, he held my hand, almost as tall as me by then, and said, "We still have each other, Grandpa Bob." We did. But I also carried guilt that we'd wasted 2 years fighting about him, guilt that we'd found our way back only to have so little time left, guilt that I'd prioritized the wrong things. I made myself a promise at Kate's funeral. I wouldn't fail Ethan the way I'd almost failed Kate. The next 4 years were just the two of us. I retired early. My pension wasn't much, but I'd been saving for decades. Kate had left a life insurance policy. I cashed in my retirement savings. I made it work. Ethan was a good kid, smart, hardworking. He wanted to study engineering at Dalhousie University. I was so proud. Neither Michael nor I had gone to university. Ethan would be the first in our family. But university is expensive. Ethan took out student loans for his undergraduate degree, but graduate school was another story. The master's program at University of Toronto offered full tuition, but living expenses in Toronto would be brutal. So I sold the house. The house Kate and I had bought 40 years ago. The house where Kate had died. The house with her garden. I sold it and moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Dartmouth. Ethan got the bedroom. I slept on a pull-out couch in the living room for 4 years. The money from the house sale, Kate's life insurance and my retirement savings came to 125,347. Every penny we had, for Ethan's future, for graduate school, for the life we wanted him to have. Last month, Ethan graduated from Dalhousie with a degree in mechanical engineering, top of his class. He'd already been accepted to the master's program at University of Toronto. I was so excited. I bought a new navy shirt, got my shoes shined. I wanted to look good in the photos. This was Ethan's big day. The ceremony was at the Rebecca Cohn Auditorium. I got there early, found a seat in the third row, right in the middle. Perfect view. I had my phone ready for pictures and videos. I wanted to capture everything. Ethan looked so handsome in his cap and gown, so grown up, 22 years old. I remembered him at 4, crying for his daddy. At 8, losing his first tooth. At 12, showing Kate his straight A report card when she was sick. At 16, getting his driver's license. And now this, a university graduate. Then they announced he'd be giving the valedictorian address. My Ethan, my boy, the valedictorian. I almost burst into tears right there. He walked up to the podium, adjusted the microphone, cleared his throat. The whole auditorium went quiet. "Thank you all for being here today," he began. "This is a moment I've dreamed about for years. Standing here, graduating with my degree, looking forward to the next chapter at U of T in the fall." I was beaming, couldn't stop smiling. I want to take a moment to thank the people who made this possible, who made me the man I am today. This was it. I sat up straighter, started recording on my phone. First, I want to thank my professors here at Dalhousie. Your dedication pushed me to be better every day. Okay. Start with the professors. That made sense. I want to thank my classmates, especially the engineering cohort. You challenged me, inspired me, became my second family. Sure, his friends. That was fine. But most importantly, I want to thank the man who changed my life, Mr. Richard Sutherland. I frowned. Richard Sutherland. That was Jessica's father, Ethan's girlfriend. Richard was a successful attorney, widower, lived in a big house in Clayton Park. When you hired me as an intern my sophomore year, you didn't just give me a job. You gave me a vision for my future. You introduced me to the right people. You showed me what real success looks like. My smile started to disappear. You treated me like a son, like the son you never had. Ethan's voice cracked with emotion. Richard, you showed me that where you come from doesn't have to define where you're going. Thank you for being the father figure I needed. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. The audience applauded. Some people stood up. Ethan was looking up at the balcony, waving. I turned to look. A man in an expensive suit, silver hair, mid-60s, was standing and clapping, looking proud, looking like a father. That was Richard Sutherland. Ethan continued. He thanked the dean, the scholarship donors, Jessica and her family for their support. He never mentioned me, not once. Not my grandfather who raised me, not my family, not even the people who supported me through my childhood. Nothing. I sat there in the third row in my new navy shirt with my shined shoes. My phone was still recording, capturing this moment I'd waited 18 years for, and I felt something crack inside my chest. The ceremony ended. Graduates threw their caps in the air. Music, cheering, photos everywhere. People pushed past me trying to get to their graduates. I just stood there. Across the room I saw Ethan surrounded by people, friends, professors, and there was Richard Sutherland, shaking his hand, pulling him into a hug like a proud father. Ethan was laughing, smiling big. I started walking toward him through the crowd. I wanted to congratulate him, to hug him, to tell him I was proud, even though something inside me was breaking. I got maybe 15 feet away. Ethan looked up. Our eyes met. For just a second, I saw something in his face. Recognition, maybe guilt. Then he looked away, turned back to Richard, put his arm around Jessica. I stopped walking, just stood there in the middle of the crowded auditorium. Someone bumped into me, apologized, kept moving. I turned around and walked out. Out of the auditorium, out of the building, into the parking lot. Sat in my 15-year-old Honda Civic, the car I couldn't afford to replace because every penny went to Ethan. I sat there for an hour staring at the dashboard. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Hey, Grandpa Bob. Sorry I didn't see you after the ceremony. It was crazy. Going to dinner with Jessica and her family and Mr. Sutherland. I'll call you tomorrow." I didn't respond. I drove home to my small apartment in Dartmouth, walked past the pull-out couch I'd been sleeping on for 4 years, went to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. 64 years old, gray hair, deep lines in my face, wearing a new navy shirt that suddenly felt stupid. The father figure he needed. Richard Sutherland was the father figure he needed, not me. Not the man who'd held him during nightmares for 18 years. Not the man who'd sold the house his wife died in. Not the man who'd slept on a couch for 4 years. Richard Sutherland, who'd given him an internship 2 years ago. I went back to the living room. On the coffee table was a photo album. The album I'd started the day Ethan came to live with us. Every major moment of his life. Every birthday, Christmas, first day of school, hockey game, award ceremony. 18 years of memories. Kate had helped me with it until she got too sick. After she died, I kept going. Hours arranging photos, writing little notes beside each one. Ethan's first goal in hockey. He was so proud. Ethan's 13th birthday. He wanted chocolate cake. Ethan accepted to Dalhousie. Kate would have been so happy. Hundreds of photos, thousands of hours of love. I'd planned to give it to him after graduation, to show him how much these 18 years meant. I picked it up, felt the weight of it. Then I set it back down. I couldn't look at it. Not tonight. The next morning, I called Ethan. "Hey, Grandpa Bob. Sorry about yesterday. It was just so hectic." "It's okay," I said. My voice sounded flat. "I wanted to drop off your graduation gift today. Are you at the apartment?" "Actually, I'm at Jessica's place in Clayton Park. Can you come here?" Jessica's family home. Of course. I drove over. Beautiful house. Big 2-car garage, manicured lawn. The kind of house Kate and I could never have afforded. Ethan answered the door in pajama pants at 11 a.m. Relaxed. Happy. Come in, come in." The house smelled like expensive coffee and fresh flowers. Through the doorway, I could see Jessica and Richard in the kitchen. They glanced over, smiled politely. Didn't come to say hello. "We're still a mess from last night," Ethan said. "Let me grab my shoes. We can sit in the backyard." "I can't stay long," I said. "Just wanted to give you this." I held out the photo album. He took it, looked at the cover. "What's this?" "Every moment of your life since you came to live with me and your grandmother. I made it for you, as a graduation gift." He opened it, flipped through a few pages. His face was neutral, not moved, just polite. "Wow, you really kept all these." "Every single one. I thought you'd want them, to remember." "Yeah, this is really nice. Thank you." He closed it, held it awkwardly at his side. Uncomfortable pause. "Did you want some coffee or?" "No, I should go." He walked me to the door. I stopped on the porch. "Your speech yesterday was very good." "Oh, thanks." "Yeah, I was nervous, but I think it went well." "You thanked a lot of people." "Yeah, well, I had a lot of help getting here." Richard Sutherland seems like a special person. Ethan's expression shifted. Defensive. He is. He's been an incredible mentor. Connected me with people in the industry, written recommendations, given me career advice. He's been really generous with his time. That's wonderful, I said. It's good to have mentors. Yeah, it really is. I drove home, sat in my apartment, stared at the walls. 2 days later, Ethan texted, "Hey, Grandpa Bob, cleaning out my stuff from our apartment before the move to Toronto. Want to come get any furniture or boxes?" Our apartment, the one bedroom where I'd given him the bedroom, where I'd slept on the couch for 4 years. When I got there, he was packing with Jessica. The place looked empty already. Half the furniture gone, boxes everywhere. "Hey, thanks for coming," Ethan said. "I wasn't sure what you'd want. Most of this stuff is pretty old anyway." I looked around. The kitchen table where we'd done homework every night. The bookshelf with Kate's cookbooks. The lamp from our old house. "I'll take the books," I said. "And the lamp." Sure. "Oh, and here." He reached down beside the door and picked something up. The photo album, sitting on the floor, next to a box marked "Donate." I stared at it. 18 years of love beside a donation box. "I figured you'd probably want this back," Ethan said. "It's more your thing than mine, you know? All those old photos. I've got everything digital now anyway." Everything digital now. I picked it up, felt the weight of it again. Kate's handwriting on the early pages. Our sweet boy. So grateful for him. "Right," I said. My voice sounded far away. "I'll take it." Ethan had already turned away, talking to Jessica about dishes. I walked out, drove home, set the album on my coffee table. And I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing. Like something inside me had shut off. I opened the album, page after page of memories that meant nothing to him. Photos of myself, younger, smiling, proud. At every hockey game, every concert, every birthday. Photos of Ethan growing up, happy. And I understood something clearly. He loved what I gave him. The education, the opportunities, the stability, the house to grow up in, the money for university. But he didn't love me. I was the old man who happened to be there. The caretaker, the bank account, the placeholder until someone better came along. Richard Sutherland came along. Successful, wealthy, connected. Everything I wasn't. And just like that, I became invisible. I closed the album, put it in my closet, sat back down. Evening now. I should have made dinner. I wasn't hungry. I opened my laptop instead, logged into my bank account, the investment account, the one with money from the house, Kate's house, where we'd been happy, where we'd raised Ethan, where Kate had died. Current balance, $125,347. Ethan's graduate school fund, for his master's degree at University of Toronto, for living expenses, for his future. I stared at that number for a long time. Then I opened my email and started typing. The next morning, I made 2 calls. First, the University of Toronto Office of Financial Aid. I told them I wanted to redirect a private scholarship fund originally designated for Ethan Morrison. "May I ask the reason?" the coordinator asked. "Personal circumstances. Is there another student in the same program who demonstrates financial need and academic excellence?" Pause. Then, "Actually, yes. David Park, first-generation Canadian, working 3 jobs to pay for undergrad. He's been accepted to the mechanical engineering master's program, but turned it down because he couldn't afford Toronto living expenses. He's exceptional." "Perfect. Transfer the full amount to Mr. Park." "The full amount? That's $125,347. All of it." "Mr. Morrison, are you absolutely certain?" "I've never been more certain of anything in my life." By 10 a.m., it was done. Then I wrote a letter. "Dear Mr. Sutherland, my name is Robert Morrison. I'm Ethan's grandfather. We've never met, though I saw you at his graduation when he called you the father figure he needed. What Ethan probably hasn't told you. When he was 4, his father, my brother Michael, died in a car accident. His mother had already passed. My wife, Kate, and I brought him home. We raised him. We loved him. Kate died when Ethan was 14. I promised at her funeral I'd give him every opportunity we could. I kept that promise. I sold the house Kate and I lived in for 40 years. The house where she died. I moved into a one-bedroom apartment and gave Ethan the bedroom. I slept on a pull-out couch for 4 years. I cashed in my retirement savings. I took Kate's life insurance, money for my future, and put it all into an account for Ethan's education. $125,000, every penny we had. Yesterday, I transferred that money to another student. David Park will actually appreciate what education costs, what sacrifice means. I'm writing to let you know Ethan is now your responsibility. You're the father figure he needed, the man who showed him success, who gave him vision. I was just the man who gave him 18 years. I don't expect you to replace the money, but I thought you should know what it cost to raise the young man you're so proud of. And I thought you should know that the limitations he grew up with were the limitations of 2 school teachers who loved him more than anything in the world. Ethan told me you treated him like the son you never had. I'm glad he found that in you. Everyone deserves a father figure, but he already had one. He just didn't see him. Sincerely, Robert Morrison. I mailed it to Richard's law office. Then I waited. Ethan called that afternoon. "Grandpa Bob, what the hell did you do?" Anger. I'd been expecting it. "Hello, Ethan. The university just called. They said my funding was transferred." "What are you talking about?" "That's my money. That's my education fund. That's from the house." "It was never your money, Ethan. It was my money. My house. My investment. And I've chosen to invest it in someone else." "You can't do that." "I just did. That's for my master's degree. I'm supposed to start in September." "Then I suppose you should talk to your father figure, Richard Sutherland, about funding. He's been so generous with his time and advice." Silence. Then, "Is this because of the graduation speech? Seriously? This is because you put an album with 18 years of memories next to a donation box, Ethan. This is because you introduced a man you've known for 2 years as the father figure you needed. This is because you forgot where you came from. Grandpa Bob, you're being ridiculous. I'm sorry I didn't mention you specifically, but there were a lot of people to thank, and I only had 10 minutes. And the album? I just thought you'd want those photos. I didn't know it was that big a deal." "It wasn't a big deal to you. That's the point. So you're taking away my education fund because your feelings were hurt? I'm investing in someone who will appreciate what education means, what sacrifice means. You have Richard Sutherland. I'm sure he'll help you figure it out." "This is insane. You can't do this." "I already have. The recipient is David Park, first-generation immigrant, working 3 jobs. He's been accepted to the same program you have. He'll use the money better than you would have." "I need that money." "No, you don't. You have connections now. You have Richard's network. You have Jessica's family. You'll be fine. Grandpa Bob, please, don't do this. It's done, Ethan, and don't call me again unless you figure out what the last 18 years were actually worth." I hung up. My phone rang immediately. I declined. It rang again. I turned it off. 3 days later, there was a knock on my door. Ethan was standing there. He looked terrible, tired, stressed. But he wasn't alone. Jessica was with him. "Can we talk?" Ethan asked. "If you'd like." They came in. Ethan sat on the couch. Jessica remained standing, looking around the apartment. The pull-out couch, the small kitchen, the dated furniture. "You've been living like this?" she asked quietly. "For 4 years." "I didn't..." She looked at Ethan. "You didn't tell me." "I didn't think it mattered," Ethan said. "Of course it mattered," Jessica said softly. Ethan put his head in his hands. "I talked to Richard. About funding for U of T. He said he'd see what he could do, but he can't promise anything. His firm's going through budget cuts. I see, I said. My parents offered to help, Jessica said, but they're already paying for my graduate program. They don't have enough for both of us. That's unfortunate. Ethan looked up at me. Grandpa Bob, please. I need that money. I've already accepted the position. I've already told them I'm coming. If I back out now, I'll lose the spot. They'll give it to David Park, I said, and he'll do brilliantly. Why are you doing this to me? I looked at him, really looked at him. 22 years old, angry, confused, desperate. I'm not doing anything to you, Ethan. I'm doing something for myself. For the first time in 18 years, I'm choosing me. But I'm your grandson. Yes, you are, and I loved you. I gave you everything I had. Everything. My time, my money, my home, my retirement, Kate's legacy, all of it. For you. And I'm grateful. No, you're not. You're grateful to Richard Sutherland, the man who gave you an internship, but the man who gave you 18 years? That man was forgettable enough to not even mention in your speech. It was one speech, one moment. It was the moment that mattered, and it showed me the truth. You love what I gave you, but you don't love me. You don't respect me. You don't even see me. Jessica spoke then. Her voice was quiet but firm. Ethan, he's right. Ethan turned to her. What? He's right. You talk about my father all the time. His connections, his advice, his success. But you never talk about your grandfather. About what he gave up for you. She gestured around the apartment. I didn't even know he'd been sleeping on a couch for 4 years so you could have a bedroom. Jessica, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. Your grandfather gave you everything, and you put his photo album next to a donation box. Ethan looked down, said nothing. I've been thinking, Jessica said slowly, about us, about our future, about what kind of person you are. She paused. I think I need some space, Ethan. I think we both do. Jessica, don't. I'm sorry. She walked to the door, then turned back. Mr. Morrison, thank you for everything you did for him. I'm sorry he didn't see it. She left. Ethan sat there, staring at the closed door. Then he looked at me. You're a bitter old man. His voice was shaking. That's what you are. You can't stand that I found success with someone other than you. You can't stand that I grew beyond this. He gestured around the apartment. Beyond this small life. Maybe you're right, I said. Maybe I am bitter. But I'm done apologizing for not being Richard Sutherland. I'm done being invisible in my own grandson's life. He stood up, walked to the door, stopped. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, but not as much as I regret the last 18 years. He left, slammed the door. I sat down, picked up my phone, turned it back on. 17 missed calls from Ethan over 3 days, 6 voicemails, dozens of texts, all saying the same thing. He needed the money. He deserved the money. I was being unfair. Not one said, I'm sorry. Not one said, I love you. Not one said, thank you for 18 years. I deleted them all. 2 weeks later, I got an email from the University of Toronto. They confirmed the funding transfer to David Park. They thanked me for my generosity. They included a note from David. Dear Mr. Morrison, I cannot express how grateful I am. My parents came to Canada with nothing. They worked in factories so I could go to school. I've been working 3 jobs to save for graduate school, but it wasn't enough. Your gift means I can focus on my studies instead of worrying about rent and food. It means I can actually pursue my dreams. I promise I will make the most of this opportunity. And someday, when I'm in a position to help someone else, I will pay this forward. Thank you for believing in me. With deepest gratitude, David Park. I read it 3 times. This was what appreciation looked like. A month later, I went to a welcome event at a retirement community in Halifax. I'd been thinking about selling the apartment, finding a place with other people my age, people who weren't invisible. I talked to people. I made a friend. Her name was Margaret Chen, 70 years old, a widow, a former nurse. She'd raised 3 children alone after her husband died young. She understood what it meant to give everything for family. We had coffee, then dinner, then we started spending time together. Actually spending time. Talking, laughing, enjoying each other's company. For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I moved into the retirement community, a nice 1-bedroom place. My own space. No pull-out couch. Margaret helped me decorate. We went to farmers markets on weekends, took a day trip to Peggy's Cove, joined a book club. I was happy. 3 months after I transferred the fund, Ethan called. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Hey, Grandpa Bob. Hello, Ethan. I wanted to tell you, I'm not going to Toronto. I didn't go to graduate school. I see. Richard offered me a job at his firm, junior paralegal position while I figure things out. The pay is okay. Not great, but it's something. There was a long silence. How are you doing? He asked. I'm well. I moved into a retirement community. I'm enjoying it. Oh, that's good. More silence. Grandpa Bob, I've been thinking about what you said, about the speech, about the album, about everything. And I think I understand now what you were trying to tell me. Do you? I took you for granted. I didn't see what you gave up for me. I was so focused on moving forward that I forgot where I came from. His voice cracked. I'm sorry. I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, but something. Thank you for saying that, I said. I was wondering if maybe we could have dinner sometime, if you're willing. I know I don't deserve it, but maybe someday, I said. But not yet. I'm not ready yet. Okay, I understand. I'll wait. You do that. We hung up. Margaret was coming over in an hour. We were going to watch a movie. She'd bring popcorn. I'd make tea. I looked at the photo album on my bookshelf. I'd taken it out of the closet but still hadn't looked through it. Maybe someday I would, or maybe I wouldn't. Either way, I was okay. 6 months later, I got a text from an unknown number. Mr. Morrison, this is Jessica Sutherland. I hope it's okay that I'm reaching out. I got your number from Ethan. I wanted to let you know I'm getting married next month to someone I met at work. His name is Thomas. He's a good man. I also wanted you to know that Ethan is doing okay. He's working hard. He's been going to therapy. He talks about you sometimes, about what he lost. I don't know if you'll ever forgive him. I don't know if you should, but I thought you'd want to know he's trying to be better. I hope you're happy, Mr. Morrison. You deserve it. Jessica. I typed a reply. Thank you for reaching out, Jessica. I wish you all the happiness in the world. You're a kind person. Thomas is lucky to have you. As for Ethan, I appreciate you letting me know. Tell him I'm glad he's trying. That's all any of us can do. Take care of yourself. Bob. I sent it, put my phone down. Margaret came out of the kitchen with 2 mugs of tea. We'd moved in together last month. Everything okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. Everything's okay. She sat beside me on the couch. Our couch. I was thinking, Margaret said, maybe we should take a trip, somewhere warm, Florida maybe. I'd like that, I said. You sure? It's a big step. I smiled. Margaret, I spent 4 years sleeping on a pull-out couch to save money for someone who didn't appreciate it. I think I'm ready to spend some money on myself. On us. She squeezed my hand. Good. It's about time. 18 months after the graduation ceremony, I was playing chess with Margaret in the common room when I saw him. Ethan, standing in the lobby, just inside the doors. He looked different, thinner, tired, older somehow, though it had only been a year and a half. He was holding a coffee carrier. 2 cups. He saw me. Our eyes met. He didn't wave, didn't smile, just stood there. I looked at Margaret. She looked back at me, then at Ethan, then back at me. "Go on," she said gently. "I'll be here when you get back." I stood up, walked across the room, out into the lobby. Ethan and I stood facing each other. "Hey, Grandpa Bob." "Hello, Ethan." He held out one of the coffees. "I got you a black coffee. The way you like it." I took it. "Thank you. Do you have time to talk? I know I should have called, but I was afraid you'd say no." I looked at him. Really looked at him. Dark circles under his eyes, clothes clean but worn. Someone who'd been working hard, working 2 jobs, if what Jessica said was true. 1 hour, I said. "There's a bench outside." 1 hour. That's more than I deserve. We walked outside, sat down, opened our coffees. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Ethan did. "I lost everything after you transferred the money. Graduate school. Jessica, I had to take out loans just to survive. I'm working as a paralegal during the day and bartending at night to pay them off." "I heard," I said, "from Jessica." He nodded. "She's a good person. Better than I deserved." "Yes, she is. Richard called me into his office after he got your letter, read parts of it to me, asked if it was true, if you'd really sold your house, if you'd really been sleeping on a couch for 4 years. Ethan's voice cracked. And he looked at me like he didn't recognize me. He said, "I thought I was mentoring a young man with ambition. I didn't realize I was enabling someone who could treat family like that." I sipped my coffee, said nothing. He still gave me the paralegal job, but things are different now. He's not a father figure anymore. He's just my boss, and I think he's ashamed of me. "I'm not here to ask for the money back," Ethan continued. "I know that's gone. I know it went to someone who deserved it more. I'm not even here to ask for forgiveness. I don't think I deserve that yet." "Then why are you here?" "Because I wanted you to know that I see you now. I see what you did for me, what you gave up, what it cost you." He turned to look at me. His eyes were red. And I wanted to say I'm sorry, not because I want something, but because it's true. "I'm sorry, Grandpa Bob, for all of it." I looked down at my coffee. "You hurt me, Ethan," I said quietly, "more than I've ever been hurt in my life. Losing Kate was devastating, but at least with Kate, I knew she loved me. She died loving me. You made me feel like the last 18 years meant nothing." "I know," he whispered. "I do now." We sat in silence, watching people come and go, watching the world move around us. Finally, I spoke. "I'm not ready to forgive you yet, Ethan. I may never be ready, but I'm willing to listen. If you want to talk, you can come back. Once a month, 1 hour. We'll see where it goes from there." Hope flickered in his eyes. "Really?" "Really. But understand something. This isn't me giving you your old life back. This isn't me being the invisible grandfather who does everything for you. This is me giving you a chance to earn something. To earn my respect, my trust, maybe, someday, my forgiveness." "I'll take it," he said. "Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You haven't earned anything. This is just a door left open. It's up to you to walk through it." "I will, I promise." We finished our coffee. He threw away the empty cups. We stood up together. "Same time next month?" he asked. "Same time next month." He left. I walked back inside. Margaret was still at the chess table, reading. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Tired," I said. "But okay." "He looks like he's been through hell." "He has," Self-inflicted, but still hell. And you? Do you think you can forgive him? I thought about it. I don't know, but I'm willing to see what happens. That's more than I could say 3 months ago. Margaret smiled. That's called healing, Bob. Is it? Yes, it is. On that night, I opened the photo album. I looked through it, page by page, year by year. Ethan growing up, Kate smiling in the early photos. Me, younger, less tired, more hopeful. I didn't cry. I didn't feel angry. I just felt sad for what we'd lost, for what could have been. But I also felt peace, because I'd learned something important, something it took me 64 years to understand. You can love someone with everything you have. You can sacrifice, you can give, you can pour yourself out completely. But if they don't see you, if they don't value you, if they take you for granted, then you have to choose yourself, even if it's the hardest thing you've ever done. Even if it feels like giving up, it's not giving up, it's letting go. And sometimes, letting go is the only way to save yourself. That's what I did. I let go. I chose myself. And in doing that, I opened the door for Ethan to choose me too. Not out of obligation, not because I was the bank account or the caretaker, but because he wanted to. Whether he'd walk through that door or not, I didn't know. But either way, I was going to be okay, because I'd already saved the most important person in my life, myself.